Thank you, Ellie, for that very kind introduction. I am truly honored to be here. It's always great to have an excuse to spend a day in Minnesota, the land of 10,000 lakes and one senator. Garrison Keillor describes Lake Wobegon as a place where, quote, all the women are strong, all the men are good looking, and all the children are above average. Well, I think that describes Apple Valley and Eastview High School to a T. And tonight, with the crowd of Rogue students assembled below and behind me, the third part of it is definitely true. You all have shown in your activities, in the classroom and outside of school, that you are more than just above average. You are the cream of the crop. You are the best our community has to offer. Looking over the program, I recognize a lot of surnames, scions of a lot of great families in this great town. I was fortunate enough to go through school with a lot of your siblings. I have nothing but the fondest memories of my hometown. And the longer I'm away from Apple Valley, the more I appreciate how special what we have here really is. As I've lived on the east and west coast these past 4 years, with those who dwell in the ivory tower and wander the corridors of power, I've come to realize that there are more people than you realize who don't share and appreciate our wholesome Minnesota values. In the big cities, a lot of people I write about lie, cheat, and steal. They ruthlessly pursue their goals in the urban jungle with little care or concern for the working folks who make this country so exceptional. That's why I sincerely believe that the heart and soul of America is right here in the heartland. Dr. Beach asked me to speak tonight on one of the 4 pillars. Disregarding the fact that I think all 4 are inextricably interconnected, I chose to focus on what I think is by far the most ambiguous: leadership. You know what's required for good character. That's been explained to you. You know how to serve your community. In fact, you've done it in order to get into the organization. You understand that scholarship is about a lot more than getting a high GPA. But defining leadership, that's much trickier. Trying to come up with a good working definition reminds me of the old Supreme Court test for obscenity. I know it when I see it. I wrote a speech full of trite aphorisms and cliche exhortations which beat around the bush, not really getting at what I wanted to say, making a laundry list of many things that I see as important in young leaders, especially juniors going into their senior year. Then I threw it out. I want to level with you, both with the new inductees and graduating seniors, proffering a little advice I wish someone had given me before I headed to college, because I think it pertains directly to the essence of what leadership really is about. As a leader, you need to do just that. Lead. Lead the way. Clear the path. Good metrics for leadership do not include the number of conferences that you go to, the number of books on the subject that you read, or how much time you spend talking about the meaning of leadership. From time to time, true leadership means cutting against the grain, marching to the beat of a different drum, and thinking outside the box. Actually getting out of your chair and getting something done. And to get in, all of you have done at least something to indicate that you have potential or that you have done that. Occasionally, leadership also means challenging authority, but doing it obediently and respectfully. And that's a little of what I want to talk about tonight. If you remember 2 words from my speech, make it these: question everything. That underlies the 2 points I want to make. First, don't accept conventional wisdom. Don't do anything just because that's the way it's always been done. Second, speak up when you disagree. Know that no one is your better. When it's called for, challenge the powers that be. The first point I want to make is think for yourself. Resist the temptation to follow uniformity and conformity. Groupthink happens when members of a group seek to avoid too much conflict and reach quick consensus. Everyone convinces themselves that only one approach is the right one. When fresh ideas are discouraged, or when it's clear those who express dissenting opinions will be penalized, creative ideas and important objections get overlooked. Or worse, avoidable accidents happen. Think about the run-up to the war in Iraq. Hindsight lets us see some of the fatal flaws in the so-called smoking gun intelligence the previous administration used to argue its case for war. There were analysts, young analysts, not much older than us, who had and harbored suspicions. And objectively, in retrospect, the evidence was fairly weak. But top officials wanted the evidence to say Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Those who believed strongly otherwise did not vocally speak up. The data that didn't support the predetermined conclusion was swept under a rug. Analysts who had reason to doubt the Iraqi exiles stayed quiet, and the CIA director told the president that his case was, quote, a slam dunk. As a result, we've lost, as of a few hours ago, 4,304 Americans and spent an estimated $672 billion. Now, that's not passing judgment on whether we should have gone to war, and you can never be completely certain about some things. But if more of the right people had spoken up about their objections, Congress and us, the American people, could have pondered the decision with more of the relevant facts and perhaps come to a different conclusion. That's an extreme case on one end. Most of you have taken the AP European History class or the AP US History class. Our teachers here do a tremendous job of teaching you how to handle the document-based question on those tests. I remember Dr. Beach giving us a packet of letters and pictures and documents, then having us ascertain which was most credible and why, and of course writing an essay about it. Extend those same principles you learn in history class and that are taught so well here to life. Think about someone's motives for saying something or telling it to you in a certain way. Don't trust everything you see on television or in books or even in newspapers. Think about the source.